Listen up, Maryland, alongside Ryan Renner. It's Phil Becerra. Not so happy recap as we come on. Ryan, thanks for joining me on this Thursday evening as we recap what happened last night, Wednesday night, to the UConn women's basketball team as they fall 72-69 against the Villanova Wildcats. Villanova improves to 16-6 overall. Connecticut Huskies 15-5. So, hey, who saw that coming? Villanova now has a better record, a one-game step above the number 8 UConn Huskies. I'm expecting maybe UConn to drop a couple spots again, Ryan. It's just this is unexpected territory. We talk about it every episode for Gino. Usually he's number one and he stays at number one. This year, we're kind of seeing him flex to the top 10, maybe 12, 13, or 14. So yeah, I mean, Ryan, when I took away from this ball game, it was funny because we don't do any game previews, but if we would have, I took a look, and the thing that really stood out to me, you won't believe me, but the thing that stood out to me was Villanova's record. When I saw the preview, the game preview, and again, we apologize for the late recap, but yeah, I saw the 15-6 record, and that I'm like, whoa, like that kind of stood out. And now the score also stands out as Villanova is victorious by 3 points.
Yeah, it's really disappointing loss for UConn. I mean, Villanova, I saw this stat last night. The Huskies had a 145 game regular season win streak against their conference, and that ended last night with their
What was it?
loss.
The first loss in conference of regular season game since 2013.
Yeah, it's really just unreal what kind of streaks that UConn has had. But after their big win, UConn's win Sunday against Tennessee, all that was left for UConn on their schedule were unranked opponents in their conference, and we thought that they were going to be easy games. It turns out we were wrong again. So, I mean, UConn's been haunted by injuries the whole entire season. They dealt with a COVID outbreak in their program at one point. And last night, 30 minutes before the game, UConn finds out they're going to play without Olivia Nelson-Ododa. So UConn, they only played with 6 players. Avina Westbrook replaced Olivia in the starting lineup. And then you had Dorka Juhas play 20 minutes off the bench. And you could tell that really affected this UConn team. They were outscored 25-15 in the first quarter. And they just came out a little slow. They were outpaced, they were out hustled for most of the game by Villanova, and really just a rough night for the UConn Huskies all around.
Yeah, rough night it was. Again, a disappointing recap, disappointing loss. I want to tell you this right now before we go over the scorecard and go over the rankings, what you think they would look like on Monday. Specifically for UConn, that is. What you take away from this, Ryan, right now it's actually, the time of the year. To me, it's not too early. I don't know about you. It's the time of the year to sit back and think, is it time to press that panic button if you're the UConn women's basketball team? I say absolutely not. Even though, yes, Phil had all of these games won by UConn, the unranked teams losing against UConn the rest of the regular season. I still don't think, Ryan, that it's time to panic. What they did against Tennessee, again, that was a huge, huge game, huge victory for them. And you have to think of it this way. What if they had dropped that game to Tennessee and then dropped this game to Villanova? So you have to sit back. Do you see what I'm saying? Look at the bigger picture and say, hey, if you're a UConn Huskies fan, thank goodness that they were victorious against Tennessee, because again, this could make up for the loss they were actually supposed to lose. UConn was supposed to lose against Tennessee, right? If you go by the rankings. So again, this is one that you flip the script, or you flip the page a quick if you're Gino, and you move on to tomorrow night, DePaul, because guess what? That's another unranked team, right? So, but I mean, I just want to talk to you a little bit about that. I really don't think with the key additions that UConn is going to receive later on, or return with the key additions returning players, that is, And what you mentioned, what they had out last night, I really don't think that it's time to panic that. Not yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it is either because that is a good point that they were, really supposed to lose, I guess, to Tennessee. But I mean, it just sucks because I mean they were supposed to win all the games left.
Yeah.
So it's really just a disappointment, and they probably will drop a couple ranking spots. But I think it's really just a story all season long, and we keep going back to it over and over again. Is all the injuries. I mean, Azzy Fudd was out, and Paige Beckers has been out for the last month,
AZ.
and
We're gonna get that right now, Ryan. AZ Fudd. I saw where somebody pointed out, they're like, why are you saying her name wrong? And we apologize for that. I'm almost 100% sure it's AZ Fudd. So Phil and Ryan will remember that from now on. AZ Fudd. Shout out to AZ Fudd. So get that in your mind, Ryan.
yeah,
AZ,
yeah.
AZ, AZ.
Yeah, I'll get that one in my mind and make sure I don't make that mistake again. But
Yeah.
I think that this is a wake up call for Gino and the players. I realized it was hard only having 6 players with Olivia being ruled out minutes before the game. But the 6 players they had are still more talented, in my opinion, than the
Mhm.
players on Villanova. That's just the truth. But they were outplayed, and for Gino, maybe he didn't have the team fully prepared for this game. They had a tough physical game against Tennessee on Sunday, and then
Mhm.
not really a quick turnaround to Wednesday. They had a couple of days of rest, but maybe they need to go harder in practice. I'm not really sure, but they need to figure something out before the tournament starts. And I think it's going to help tremendously when Paige Beckers comes back, and then hopefully Olivia Nelson Adota is okay. I think the reason behind why she didn't play in that game was because she wasn't feeling well. So hopefully they'll get her back for that game on Friday against DePaul.
Who's that? Kristen Williams?
Olivia Nelson Adota was out.
Nelson Adota,
Yeah.
right. Okay. All right. So let's go over the scorecard, Ryan. Villanova for Villanova, the leading scorer. Hopefully, I'm saying her name right. Lior Garzone. She had 19 points. She led the way with 19. And then for Connecticut, of course, it was AZ Fudd again. So AZ Fudd, another nice career night, right? Led all players with 29 points. But that's kind of a good point that you make, Ryan. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players. 6 players had to put this team on their back in this ball game. Usually I'm not used to seeing 6 players in the whole game, right? Usually it's a lot more that's left on the scorecard. So I just think that that's, again, seems like UConn are getting hard with either, the girls are going down sick, maybe they're injured. Again, so that's a lot of pressure. It was literally Edwards, Fudd, Williams, Nika Mule, Avina Westbrook, Dorka Juhas. The whole game.
Yeah, right. And the practice leading up to this game, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practices, assuming they practiced with Olivia Nelson Adota, and she was supposed to be the starter leading up to this game. So they really didn't have time to plan and make a game plan for having her out, because usually Olivia is kind of the spotlight player without Paige Beckers. But yeah, I mean, UConn, they only had 2 players get double digits. AZ Fudd played 40 minutes, 11 for 20, 29 points, 4 rebounds. Kirsten Williams also had to play 40 minutes, 9 for 15, 24 points, 3 rebounds. But then you look at the Villanova Wildcats, they had 4 players in double digits. You mentioned Lior. Maddie Segrest had 17 points. Brianna Hurley had 15. And Lucy Olson had 11. So, even though, UConn only played with 6 players, they had to play a lot of minutes. I still think they were more talented and they should have been able to still win this game. We always talk about how great of a coach Gino is, and he has all these great assistants.
Yeah.
But, just to me, you go through March Madness and there's things you don't expect to happen in the tournament. So I think this is a wake up call, and this gets them more prepared for what could happen in the future.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely eye popping, for sure. To see this kind of stuff happening again. We wouldn't be talking about it if it was your everyday regular sports team, right? You know, going back to that comment, you know, I think that there's one person that commented on one of our videos and they're like, well, what the NCAA needs to realize is there's more than just Paige Beckers and AZ Fudd. Is it really? I don't know. That, you know, that one kind of got you fired up there. But I mean, because again, this is a team with rich history, rich winning history. So again, if this is your everyday ball club, everyday college team, nah, you know, yeah, they lost the game. Everybody loses. If you're the Huskies, there's not too many L's that actually happened. What is like back in 2015 to I don't know. I had to look at the years now, but right. I mean, where they just never lost a single game ever.
Yeah, 100+ game win streak. Well, I have to look at that stat. I forget how many years that was. That was insane to watch them all
Yeah.
those years and not even lose. But that's the pressure that comes with
Mhm.
being a UConn player. You know, Gino gets all these great athletes out of high school and through the transfer portal, and they come to
Yeah.
UConn with the expectation of, you know, you're supposed to win on a night-to-night basis being a UConn Husky. But I know I kind of been tough on them this episode, but I was happy to see them, even though they were down 15 points with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They didn't give up. They didn't put their heads down. They didn't say the game was over. They made it a 2-point game with 9 seconds left, which is pretty impressive, you know, since they were struggling the whole entire game, just not able
Yeah.
to complete the comeback there. It would have been a pretty impressive comeback. But you know, I'm glad to see that they didn't give up. But I wish they would have came out of halftime a little more fired up. But you know, it just didn't go their way last night.
You wish they would have had a surprise announcement at halftime. Hey, Paige Becker, ESPN breaking headline. Paige Beckers is back for the UConn Huskies against Villanova. No, I'm just kidding. You know, you always wish, huh? Breaking headlines. They're always nice when they go in your favor. But hey, instead of going over the rankings list, I'll do this. Let's see what Ryan thinks about this. What will this do to Villanova? What will this do to Connecticut on Monday when the new rankings come out? And again, will the committee be sold on Villanova or it's just not there?
I mean, they probably could, because we saw with Georgia Tech after they beat UConn, Georgia Tech went up in the rankings. I think Georgia Tech is 13th or 14th now, so they turned out to be a
Okay.
pretty good game, pretty good team since they beat UConn.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see Villanova jump up. They do have a pretty good record, so possibly maybe 20th, lower 20s range,
Okay, that's fair. So you're
possibly.
thinking at the bottom range. All
But
right. Yeah.
I think UConn probably drop down to that 10 spot, or maybe even fall outside of the top 10, possibly go down to that 11 spot like we saw earlier in the season.
All right. Well, that's that, Ryan. Again, new rankings on Monday, NFL honors tonight,
Yeah.
and then we will be back tomorrow night after that 7 o'clock tip. Number 8 as of now, pending Monday. Number 8, Connecticut and DePaul. Ryan, I'll see you tomorrow night.